Halloween from Covino and Rich.
Yeah, what the fuck do you want?
Hello?
Who the fuck is this?
Who is this?
Who's this? Who the fuck is this?
What number is this?
What number? You fucking called me.
I don't know.
What are you, a dummy? You got the wrong number. Beat it. You gotta be fucking kidding me. Hello?
I'm sorry, I guess I dialed the wrong number.
Yeah, you just fucking called me. Don't you know how phones work?
Wait, don't hang up.
Hang up. You can hang from these nuts.
I want to talk to you for a second.
You think I got time for this? I got Melody over here. I gotta work on the show. I fulfilled my friend limit, Dick Nose. No thanks. In fact, no thunks. What?
Why don't you want to talk to me?
I don't want to talk to you. You get the fucking hint.
What's that noise?
What's that noise? I'm fucking making popcorn for Melody, even though I'll probably eat all of it.
You making popcorn?
Yeah, that's what I just said. I'm making popcorn. What do you think I'm doing? Playing the fucking maracas? Gonna watch a movie.
Really? What?
What? None of your fucking business. I'm getting ready to Netflix and chill by myself.
You like scary movies?
Oh, I like scary movies. What the fuck? How many fucking questions you got?
What's your favorite scary movie? You have to have a favorite. What comes to mind?
My favorite scary movie? The one where I bang your mother.
Yeah.
You like that one?
I like that movie. It was scary.
What's yours? Like I give a shit?
The one where the guy had knives for fingers.
Do you mean Edward Scissorhands, you fucking moron?
That's right. You never told me your name.
Covino from Covino and Rich. Feel free to promote that.
I want to know who I'm looking at.
I got my flex belt on doing bed sit-ups and you're trying to call me?
I thought we were going to go out.
Go out? Fucking, I'm chill mode, bro. Chill mode. Scratch my fucking thighs.
Don't hang up on me. I told you not to hang up on me.
I hung up on you because you're fucking annoying. Beat it. Listen, asshole.
You listen, you little bitch. If you hang up on me again, I'll cut you like a fish, understand?
I don't eat crustaceans. I'm allergic, I think. Oh, you sound like a fucking creep. If you want to watch a movie so fucking bad, call my friend Rich. He'll watch with you. Now get the fuck out of here. Later.
Hello?
Oh, hey, who's this?
1, 2, 3, 4.
Don't mind if I do.
Covino and Rich.
Honestly, how do I deal with you every day?
Heard all about it on the radio.
Yeah!
Holy mother nugget! And holy mother meatball!
I'm the smartest man alive! You're so ridiculous. What? You're such a fool. Get out of here.
Oh, I'm a disc jockey.
What's a disc jockey?
Here we go.
Covino and Rich.
Let's go!
Let's go!
Way back on a Wednesday, I have to say that's probably the best thing Spot has ever produced. The funniest shit you've ever done, for sure. I see that as a compliment.
I love the, I'm doing bed sit-ups. I forgot you used to do bed sit-ups.
And I had a flex belt to zap my abs. Yeah. So I have some self-serving things that we should probably discuss based on that. Because I think that's one of the best things we've done in 15 plus years, sadly. But it's true. It's shit is funny. It's Covino and Rich. We are live. COVID and Rich. And we be rocking out.
Shiba Inu, Shiba Inu. Wish I put more money in, but I'm a pussy and not chickened out, yeah. Shiba Inu. Up like 500% over the last week. Covino, you know when you feel like you put a lot of energy into something that maybe doesn't have the payoff, and then you put a little energy into something that if you would have put more in, the payoff's higher? Investments or any type of thing like that. That cryptocurrency that's all the rage right now, Shiba Inu, it's like 0.0006 something cents now. I put in a little bit of money just to play along with everyone else. Meanwhile, I'll put in stupid, probably unadvised amounts of money on stuff that's that for no reason I shouldn't trust it any more than some stupid crypto. But are you aware of the Shiba Inu rage?
Only from you.
It's I guess you would say it's the new Dogecoin, where it's got a lot of hype and people are trying to push it that if it gets to like a penny, if it gets to a penny, people that are in it now are all going to have hundreds of thousands of dollars or millions. But it's one of those, see if they could pump it up. It's a shitty cryptocurrency with a little doggy face.
Why don't they make Joe Budden the face? He'll pump that shit up.
Pump.
It's Covino and Rich. Steve Covino. Rich Davis. Spot is here, but he's hiding out because he's in bad shape right now.
I'm here.
Same here. But Spotty, send me the link so that I can see the feedback coming in. If you guys want to chime in, the text number is 412-267-7469. 412, the letter CNR show. Sports, entertainment, life, Shiba Inu, investments,
Shiba Inu,
COVID.
Well, know what it is? As someone just said, I think, was it Clovis or someone else said that see, you're so dumb, Daniel Javier Fitz. I bought with the hype, but before the hype really happened, so it's paying off a little bit. I'm saying that we all invest in a broken stock market that makes no sense on a daily basis. So is it any worse to invest in I don't know, some stupid crypto altcoin? Like, is there any difference between a random crypto altcoin versus some penny biotech stock? To be honest, really no difference. And Drew Mack saying, you're an all-star, Covino, for doing the show today. Spotty, thanks for setting up. Let's see. Health is wealth, Bree Miller. There's a few stories we could get to if you want to chime in, Covino. I'll give you some alley-oops. You can
I wanted to
slam it
self-serve
home.
real quick on Way Back Wednesday, based on our little Halloween intro. We've been playing that shit so long. I just wanted to know, just off the top of your head, and we'll read a few comments.
Yeah.
What do you think the best shit we've ever done as far as a radio show was, production-wise? Or
I think some of your tickle sack songs are, and I'm not just stroking your ball sack, I think some of your tickle sack songs are up there with the best I've heard in like big time radio shows in New York or LA. Like, what's the best one though?
I think that Scream one might be the one. I think everything about it is really funny.
I think the Scream one's funny, but I think the one we did yesterday, the Saw one, like when you're like, no, not my Scream, and because
my brother likes that one too.
That's the best
reason
one.
we play them so often.
Yeah.
And we've played them so long because we've always gotten great reaction on them. And we grew up in a time of radio where, doing bits and sketches like that really wasn't the cool sort of thing to do. Yet we still did it from time to time. But as we started to grow as a show, bits and prank phone calls and things like that started to fade a little bit. But that shit was funny to us, so we always played it. I'm wondering what else stands out, but the Scream thing always stands out for me.
My sitcom cover of Laverne and Shirley About You. That's what Mauser said.
That's a good one. You know what that is, and that was the winner of our insult parody challenge. So,
like, the content-wise, that's great, but like production-wise, I feel like the Halloween things, I tried to match I put music behind and add, and layered in the effects just so it would sound smooth.
If you want to talk about best production value, I think when Spot did Poon Poon Now, that could have, I'm not even joking. That could have won a radio award as far as production value. Poon Poon Now.
Is so not politically correct for 2021. That's how long we've been doing the show. It's like we're embarrassed of the stuff we used to do.
That's a classic.
Spot, based on man hours and actual production elements, what is the longest amount of time you spent on some shit that you were proud of? Like our intros?
Yeah, usually the intros take me days because they take me weeks because I'm trying to figure out what works together. I need inspiration.
Well, the intros
that's why they always take so long to do.
The intros are next level production, and that's where Spotty's skill set comes into play. But as far as something that aired on the show, comedic bit or something like that, you're right. That world of radio, Covino, is old school. When people did prank phone calls and, hey, we're sending Greg T, the frat boy, out on the streets, or hey, we got our stunt guy who's going to try to see how many donuts he could eat in the next 1 minute. Like that shit, that type of radio is long gone. Now it's like conversations and real life and shit like that, and that's...
Yeah, and raw and less polished and more green. And and less produced. And, you know, that's why we stopped doing things like that.
Yeah.
That, and we're a little lazy. But, you know, looking back and hear these Halloween ones, they're some of my favorites.
They're still great. And
yeah,
I think as far as production value, the things you named are probably the best ones. But if you say, what's your favorite bit? Right? Tony Moriello brings up Seacrest, War of the Roses. To me, I respect Seacrest, but that shit sounds like the most fake, outdated bit on the radio. I don't know how he still even does it and how still people want to hear it. War of the Roses? Come on.
Hey, Spot, what was more production value intense? Poon Poon Now, our Black Eyed Peas parody, or I Left My Chonies in El Segundo? Because I feel like that one was pretty on point, too. I felt like a lot went into that.
I don't know.
Actually, you know what?
I'm
taking back my answer. As far as songs, Watching the Hobbit might be the all-time greatest.
Oh, Watching the Hobbit's really good. It depends, because it depends on the original song, because I try and yearn for the original song.
And that's sort of what makes Covino really good as a lyricist, because
sometimes it comes easy. Actually, you know what? For Poon Poon Now, I had to find a cracked version of an auto-tune.
Oh, I have my answer.
That was pretty hard.
I have my answer for best story behind the song. The fact that for One Shining Man Ass for March Madness.
That's a great story.
Spot called and got in contact with the original composer of the song. And the guy's like, I'll let you use the original composition as long as it's for something good. And Spot's like, yeah, you know it's for something good. It's for man ass.
No. Actually, there's a story that trumps that story. That's a great story. And it was a little disrespectful because that's probably that one shining moment for the guy who wrote it.
Right.
But we wanted to do a Frosty the Snowman parody called Frosting the Women. Really classy stuff. I'm sure you guys remember it.
Frosting the Women with my
And we couldn't
one-eye.
find any instrumental for it. There was no instrumental online, no karaoke version that would suffice. So we went to our inside composer at SiriusXM. Like, we have a musician on site that makes jingles and songs, and he composed every piece of that song so that we could just make the smuttiest, most lowbrow shit over all of his hard work. So when you hear the violins and the clarinets and shit, some dude at SiriusXM composed that whole shit for us.
Can you remind me of the lyrics? Frosting the Women with my one-eyed
trouser snake.
I thought it was trouser snake, but that one-eyed trouser snake. Frosting the women with my one-eyed trouser snake. Something when my balls hang low. What was it? So
remember.
the people know.
Spot, can you just play the beginning so people can hear that some guy actually produced that at SiriusXM? And he's a very talented and awesome guy. He's like, what are you guys doing with this? We're like, oh, we're just making a Christmas parody.
Yeah, you know.
But he had to go through all that trouble to recompose a holiday classic just so we could do some. He made all this beautiful instrumental.
It is funny to think that a composer was in his studio doing this so that we can make this song.
Frosting the women with my happy jolly home.
It's too soon. Can't yet.
Well, there you go.
Can't take it.
So just a little self-serving, reminiscing way back on a Wednesday. Hope you had a great Tuesday night. An Atlanta Braves sort of Tuesday. I'm excited to watch the game today. I hope it's a little closer.
I have one question for you, Cove, when it comes to the World Series.
Yeah.
Do you, in any sport, does it make you feel happier or more justified when the team that was best all year long wins it? Or are you totally cool and are like, awesome? Like, if the team gets hot, the team gets hot. Because you know the Braves of the 1, 2, 3,
Yeah,
4,
they had
5,
like 88 wins or something.
Of the 10 teams that made the postseason in the National League and American League combined, there's 10 teams that make the postseason. 6 division winners and 4 wild cards. The Braves had the worst record. So they were if it was like another sport, they would be the worst seed.
Right.
Does that bother you? You're like, no, fuck it. They got hot.
Not at all. It's about getting hot at the right time and playing good enough just to make it there. So
like the
props to
Dodgers,
them, they're playing big. The Braves are really good, man. I'm excited for them.
The Dodgers and the Giants won 20 more games than the Braves this year. So it's like, if they were in the same division, it would look so lopsided. Like the Braves were 20 games less than the Giants and Dodgers. But hey.
And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that. Of course, The Bachelorette was also on last night. I'm so bored by it. You know how some people just don't intrigue you, Rich?
Yeah.
It's like I'm so not intrigued. I'm so bored by it. But I watched a little bit of that. I missed a lot of it because I was watching the World Series.
Mm-hmm.
I had a meeting with Sirius XM. That was pretty miserable. And then I sort of like moseyed around in my socks all day, moping around, just trying to get better. And, here we are today. Here we are now. And as I was getting ready, like I'm fresh out of the shower right now. As my mom used to say, the wet head is dead. Got the wet head going on right now.
I like the little curl down.
That's nature's what? What did I call that shit?
Nature's gift?
It's nature's gift, man, from the hair gods. Nature's gift from the hair gods. That just happens sometimes. I got to roll with it. That's my Danny Zuko. As I was getting ready, I'm not trying to harp on this by any means, but I was watching Screaming A. Smith, and he was doing what he does. And they were talking about if you were to pick an MVP in the NFL right now,
Russell Wilson.
Right now?
Could an MVP be someone that hasn't really played much, but if you want to go by definition, yeah, it's Russell Wilson. But if you really want to talk, you're probably going to say Kyler Murray or Aaron Rodgers. But what I'm saying, if you ask by definition, Covino, wouldn't it be most valuable to their team? Isn't it so abundantly clear that when Russell Wilson's there, the Seahawks are like always contending, but when Russell Wilson's out for a minute, it's like they're awful?
Yeah, I mean, that's why they'll never win it. They can't win. It's more of a team game. He can only take them so far. So, yeah, I get what you're saying, but you were right. The answer, according to Stephen A., and I agreed with him, that's why I brought it up, is Kyler Murray. As of right now, you can't say that he's not the MVP.
Well, yeah. And it looks like the baseball, see you later, I'm going to go with football decision is working out, because that was a big question mark, because you and I were like, baseball's a longer, healthier career, but he'd have to wait. Being a small quarterback in the NFL, what if he gets pummeled? But it looks as though it's working out for Kyler Murray.
And that's a great question to even just bounce off of. We'll take your feedback, 412-267-7469, Covino and Rich, COVID, Eno, and Rich.
By the way, a lot of people saying Derrick Henry. He's a fucking force.
He's definitely in the conversation, but people are even saying if the Chargers win like 13 games, like you even got to consider guys like Justin Herbert.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of contenders for sure, but right now Kyler Murray's undefeated. He's playing like a beast. But again, he made the right choice to play in the NFL. When we talk about life decisions, yesterday we talked about relationships, right? Someone was going through a midlife crisis. Maybe that was Monday. A guy harping on, man, what if I stayed with an ex-girlfriend? Would life have been better? Like, does anybody dwell on their career decisions and whether or not they should have done something else and had their life been better as a result?
Oh, I
imagine people dwell on that a lot. Like Kyler Murray, it's pretty obvious. He could have signed a fat deal with the Oakland in fact, he did, and he backed out of it. He could have played baseball, but he probably wouldn't even had been in the major leagues yet, because that's a long sort of journey to make it to the bigs.
So it's weird in baseball. Like they take these young stars and they're like, we're going to groom you. And the NFL's like, all right, young star, put you in the game.
They throw you in the water and expect you to swim,
no swimming lessons. They do that thing that scares me, where they throw little babies in the pool and they have to learn how to float on their back. That fucking weirds me out. That's what they do in the NFL.
That's what Mexicans do. Spot, see if you could find the George Lopez
Spot
bit.
stepped out.
Okay. Yeah, George Lopez talks about how that's what they do at Mexican parties, If there's one little nephew or something that can't swim, some uncle's throwing him in the water. And all you do is you look up and you see everybody pointing down at you while you're trying to get back up and learn how to swim on the fly.
Well,
but I didn't have many options. I mean, at the time, I believe myself enough where I'm sure I would have done well and worked hard at whatever. But, the story goes that I was debating taking the fireman's test, right? Because I had someone vouching for me at the time. Like, would life have been better? I say absolutely no. I think that's a pretty obvious answer for me too. Like our buddy Jose Mangan, he was going to be a pharmacist, and then the radio stuff took off. right. That's the thing. It's very pivotal moment. Like, hadn't the Covino and Rich stuff started to take off when it did way back on a Wednesday, yeah, I probably would have been starting to look down other avenues because the radio thing was looking hopeless at that point.
I think you put in a ton of work and paid your dues. And to me, you stuck it out. You could have quit months earlier.
Yeah.
And it could have went terribly different. Like you could have, if you would have quit radio 6 months earlier and said, you know what, this ain't just going to work out. Let me get a steady job. Hey, maybe you would have been in the sexy dude fireman calendar, but that would have been your highlight.
And by the way, my story way back on a Wednesday, for people that might not know, I had taken a step back in the radio business because my boss, who I worked so hard for early on in my career, he had left the company.
Yeah.
So he was the guy that was throwing me bones. He was the guy that was putting me on the air. He was the guy at least giving me a shot. And then they hired someone new, and that guy did not believe in me really at all. So I took a step backward. And that's when I was really like, man, this radio thing's not going to happen unless I move to another state, unless I start doing radio in North Carolina somewhere, or I'll stay here and be a fireman and make an honest living, make some good money. And, I know that's not for me because it's just not who I am. I'm masputo, too masputo to be a fireman. It's just not the style of life I think I wanted to live. But I'm sure there's a lot of people listening, Rich, that dwell on, man, I fucking took this route as opposed to that route.
Well, you never know. You know how it's a weird analogy, but you know how you've said it before, like, do you really ever know when someone's dead? Like, what if you tried to revive them one more time and they like came back to life? Like, how many times did someone say, let me try one more time? Right?
Yeah.
You don't know. There comes a point where you die, but sometimes you don't quite know when someone's really dead. You don't know,
I don't know
when
what that means. Oh.
No, you don't know if you would have waited 3 more months. It's that amazing John Krasinski story. Have you ever heard that story?
No, but tell me it.
I'm trying to find it on TikTok as I'll play it. Oh,
okay,
here we
yeah.
go. I got it
Okay.
actually. You know what? Hold on. Let me pause this. I'll try to just, since we're shorthanded today, I'll just put it up to my, I'll put it up to the speaker. It should work. He's on a late night show.
What you strive to achieve in life is what Kyler Murray sort of proved to everybody. That without a doubt, he made the right choice.
Oh yeah. You want to make it show, you want to show that, oh, this choice we made? Yeah, it's the right one. Take a listen to Krasinski. I think this is it. I hope it is. Take a listen.
I'm from one of those amazing families where I was leaving that theater school that I told you. Truly, my mom came to pick me up from that theater school after 16 weeks or something. And as soon as the car left the driveway of the school, I said, I'm moving to New York and I'm going to be an actor. And my mom paused for probably half a second and she said, great, go do it. The only thing I ask you is in 2.5 or 3 years, if you don't have any sense that this is going to happen, we used to fish as kids, so she was like, if you don't get a nibble or a bite in 2.5 or 3 years, you have to make me one promise. And I said, what? She said, you got to pull yourself out because as your mother, you can't ask me to tell you to give up on your dreams. I said, that's so profound and yes, fair. Cut to 2.5 years later, I was like, so I'm out. This is terrible. It's so scary. This is the worst. Waiting tables, not as fun as they say. And she said, it's September. Just wait it out. Just wait till the end of the year. Don't give up just yet. I was telling her to come get me. And in New York? Yeah. And 3 weeks later, I got the office. Wow.
Is that crazy?
That's insane. Yeah.
Yeah. So, here's a guy.
Really insane.
Struggling actor, waiting tables, not getting the chance. He said, Mom, I'm moving back home. And she's like, well, you might as well wait another 2 months. It's almost the end of the year. He auditions for The Office as sort of a virtual unknown and fucking is on The Office. Like that's...
And honestly, it's probably one of those things that we all take for granted. If you have just a little inkling of the feeling that Krasinski and Kyler Murray have, I feel like you're so much more ahead of the game than the guy that can't sleep at night because he's dwelling on that decision, and that's really a tough way to fucking live, to know. And it goes back to a Bronx Tale too. Nothing worse than wasted talent. Maybe you just needed to stick it out a little longer. a little longer and that opportunity would have come. And, you know, or you could just say everything happens for a reason.
Reason. I mean, there's people that their whole career was made on, hey, you auditioned for the right thing and you got the right role. And truth is, like, you're good, but you were part of something so big that it really elevated you. And I'm not saying that about Seacrest, but Seacrest works harder than anyone. But Seacrest just auditioned for these random music reality shows like we all did in the radio and TV world, right? He gets American Idol. No one thinks American Idol's going to be fucking monstrous. They get washed up Paula Abdul to be a judge, Simon Cowell, and a guy named Randy Jackson no one knows. Ends up being the biggest show on TV, and now Seacrest makes fucking $50 million a year. That's just an audition he went on. It's not like that was guaranteed success, right?
It's just really nice to know that you made the right decision. And, you know, it's one of the nice peace of mind things that I'm able to take to bed with me at night. Like knowing that I made one good decision in my life that, you know, still carries on today. And that's, I chose to stuck out radio, even when people were telling me not to, even when people were telling me I had to move, even when people were telling me SiriusXM was going to be bullshit. So, you know, it's just nice to know. And Kyler Murray has to feel good for him. He did the right thing. Now he's the main contender for MVP this season.
Yeah.
So
maybe you are John Krasinski. Maybe you're Jim from The Office. Maybe you're one meeting away, or one interview away, or one trip to the bar, one swipe on Tinder. You might meet the woman of your dreams or the man of your dreams, or get the job that you've been wanting. It could just be one fucking step away. So not to be Captain Motivator, but
you know who the worst guy is? You know who has the hardest time sleeping at night, Rich? The guy, and I feel for you, guy. My guy.
My dude.
I pray for you. The worst feeling must be the guy who isn't confident he made the right choice with the woman he's with.
Yeah.
Because he thinks maybe he let another one go, right? And that same guy who is working a job that, you know, he chose and wonders if another opportunity was better for him. And that guy's out there, and I feel bad for that guy because that's hard to live with, man.
I don't think of those things from the perspective.
That's why people drink a lot.
I don't think, Covino, from the perspective of what ifs, like it would have been better. But I think we've all daydreamed like, oh, I wonder what that path would have led me on. Like, remember, I recently pointed out how, much like you, I went to a radio internship interview and then I went to a PR firm. And I was like, yeah, this seems a little too stuffy for me. But what if I said, well, that's a safe route. I'm going to go into I'm going to go into marketing and PR. Never got into radio. Would I have married like my 20-year-old girlfriend when I was like in my early 20s? Would I have like teenage kids now? Would I have an office job? Like you do wonder, right? You do wonder those things, not in a regret way, not in a, man, I think about it a lot, but we've all played those little mental gymnastics, right?
Yeah, of course. But again, luckily, that's some shit I don't dwell on, which is great.
Yeah,
so.
no, but we've all thought about it. Like the one recently I've thought about is, I wonder what life would have been like. And by the way, Tony's right. We all have little daydreams about what ifs. It's a matter of the people that harp on them and like fucking start hitting the bottle because of it. We all have the, hey, I wonder what my life would have been like if I stayed with my high school sweetheart. That would have been fucking wild.
Well, we talked about that earlier this week.
Yeah, we talked about it recently. So my thought is recently, what if we would have stayed in New York? Not that it would necessarily would have been a good thing. I am curious because then I'm like, well, I wouldn't have these two kids because life wouldn't have lined up the same way. So Emmy and Ben would not be like, I might have different kids. Like
you wouldn't have had the ESPN experience.
The
either,
ESPN experience, yeah. But then what if staying in New York would have led to something different for Covino and Rich? Like you don't know. Like it's always a weird head scratcher or a beard scratcher.
We don't need to harp on it. I'm just saying if you have just a little bit of that Kyler Murray feeling inside that you made the right choice, you know, rest your head proudly at night, knowing that you did something good.
Like, would I be living?
I feel good about it.
Would Sarah and I have bought a house in like fucking Jersey or Connecticut? Like, I'm like, that would have been weird. Then I fucking commute to New York City. No thanks. So yeah, we've had those thoughts. Everyone has.
You want to know an interesting thought, which is kind of sad, but interesting at the same time?
What if Sammy J wasn't a prick at that moment and we stuck with him? Would he have ever been a long-term part of our show? And would that have meant Spot never came in?
Let me piggyback on that thought because we're going down the same track a little bit. Sammy J was our original producer. If you guys don't know, most of you do. Like Spot hitched his wagon to us.
Yeah.
Right. Do you think that he ever, I mean, and I think he's doing just fine. I think he's doing great, to be honest. But I bet you Spot sometimes thinks, man, I really thought these dudes were going to be the next fucking Seacrest and Dunkelman. I wonder if he feels
Who's Dunkelman?
happy about his decision, investing his career in us, because we were on such an upward trajectory to be like the next big thing. I'm not being braggadocious, but I'll quote one of the bosses that are still there at Sirius XM. They were calling us the next $1 million show, like the next big show. Covino and Rich. We were the shit back then. Before influencers were a thing, we were living that Maxim world. So for Spot, he's like, yo, man, yeah, I'll ride with these guys.
Yeah, I look at like he might have a more stable job, but the world of radio production and behind the scenes stuff was what Spot was doing. Spot was never on the microphone before us. So I'd imagine Spot would have a good job working in radio or production somewhere, just editing stuff. Like, you know what I'm saying?
I think he made the best decision. That's my opinion, but that's me.
Yeah, like I mean, I'm just saying for the fun of it. I can't say we provided any extra fortune and glory, but as far as fun goes, there's no way like any other job would have provided the fun and experiences and travel and those type of things. We've done more of that than anyone I've ever met in our industry.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, by the way, on another sad angle of the same thought,
yeah,
wonder how our your women, listening, think about hitching their wagon to this guy. When they met you, you had all this promise, right? You had all these goals and aspirations, and you were going to do all these things. You were going to give her the moon.
Yeah.
Wonder how she feels about that now.
Who are you talking
when she could have been with Oily Variety Bohunk. She could have been with Jake Ryan, and she chose you. Yeah. Did she go to bed at night knowing she made the best decision? Let's hope so. Yeah, let's make it our job and goal to make her feel that way.
Let's hope your woman feels like she chose the right guy, and hope that you chose the right woman.
It's a great reminder on the flip side.
So my thought is, by the way, someone brought up a great bit. We were talking about our favorite bits of all time to start the show. Not a production bit, but I think Spot going up to girl saying he was Frank Marino, Dan Marino's nephew, and trying to make out with like random girls on spring break. That might be a top 10 favorite moment as far as like funny bits.
It was memorable because we were feeding him lines. Yeah. And that was kind of funny.
Yeah. Let's see. What if, Mark in Colorado, we heard from him the other day, Renee. He's with us. He's here on Patreon. You have to overpromise and underdeliver. That's like the opposite of what you have to do. You have to underpromise, overdeliver in life. All right, there's a lot of stuff to get to today besides Kyler Murray making the right choice, Shiba Inu, Atlanta Braves. There's a few stories I want to get your Covino hot take on. And some other just rando stuff. Number one, how do you feel about
like shit? Oh, okay. What?
What's your number one symptom? Headache or just feeling like fatigue?
Death. I feel like death is creeping in. If you see the Grim Reaper behind me, let me know.
It's not a Halloween prop?
No.
What is your number one symptom?
Headache.
Headache? Yeah. Headaches are the worst. Headaches are the worst because you feel so debilitated by a headache. Like if you're just tired, you can lay down. But if you have a headache, that can keep you awake. All right. Here's my thought. There's speculation, and this is not bullshit. I thought it was like nonsense. about Facebook changing their name.
Yeah, I heard about this.
And I start thinking to myself, really? Facebook changing their name? Doesn't it seem like an interesting choice? Like, of all, like, they've had some bad press, right, over the last year. But do you really think a $1 billion company like that changing their mind and changing their name and their whole brand is a good move? That seems like a Wall Street move, not a customer move.
I mean, it worked fine. Worked out for TikTok.
It's a great example. Musically turned into TikTok. And I found a list of companies that started out named something else. And I wonder if you even knew that they had a previous name.
Was Carl's Jr. just Carl's? And then they created another one, and that was the junior version of Carl's?
Carl, good to see you. Google, once upon a time, was called Backrub.
That's a stupid name. By the way, my hot take is at 99.9.
Look at that. 99.9. Number nine.
Give me some other ones.
So Google was Backrub because they thought that they analyzed the, quote, backlinks to determine websites. So they were called Backrub. That would have been so weird. Backrub.com.
Yeah, but we would have gotten used to it.
That's true. 7-Eleven, when it first debuted, was Totem.
You know, my sisters were laughing at me the other day because I told them that I was a member of like the 7-Eleven club. Like I have a membership with them, like a little account.
That's so funny.
Where I get points and shit.
Who does that?
I love 7-Eleven. I should have known that.
Who's so involved in 7-Eleven more than you? You might be their highest end clientele.
Me, I love that place.
In the 1920s, it was called Totem. Instagram was called Bourbon. B-U-R-B-N. Bourbon. Believe it or not, the photo sharing app Instagram actually started as Bourbon. Creators created the app. They foresaw it being a combination of Foursquare and Mafia Wars. So they named it after their favorite drink, bourbon, but with a different spelling.
By the way, Alex Berman chimes in. What's up, Alex? He said I was right, and I'm pretty sure I knew I was right. But Carl's Jr.
Oh, you were serious?
It's really just that's like there was an original Carl's, right?
Yeah.
And then they made another one that was Carl's Jr.
Carl's.
Yeah. And then that became the spin-off chain.
Oh, let's see if you remember this one, if your brain's working, from all the little fun documentaries you and I have watched on the History Channel. Pepsi was first created, and it was named after a dude. It was a guy's name, drink. Do you remember?
Maury. No, I have no idea. What was it?
I don't know if you would have loved if it was Brad's drink.
Was that really what it was called?
Yeah, Pepsi was called Brad's drink.
Man, glad they changed that name.
Yeah.
But as far as Facebook, I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of legal reasons as well. You know, there's a lot of stories about, and I don't know all the legal ramifications. I only know the headline gist of Facebook changing their name.
Yeah.
But when Prince changed his name to the symbol, it had to do with, you know, freeing himself of contracts and being able to do things outside of the name Prince. Like, you know, he lost control of Prince. And Zuckerberg and all these guys are probably losing control of what is now Facebook. And by doing this, they probably figure out some sort of legal loophole where they're able to do things they weren't able to do before. Well, that's just my guess.
Andrew makes a great point. What'll probably happen is that, so Facebook's a company and it's also a brand, but Facebook owns WhatsApp, Oculus, Instagram, all these things. So maybe the bigger company, meaning like on Wall Street, Facebook's the stock. Even though Facebook owns all these other things, maybe the company will be like, I don't know, fucking Ultraverse. And Ultraverse owns Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, all that stuff. Maybe they just rebrand the father company, the mother company, instead of just calling it Facebook for press reasons. But that's why I bring it up. Subway sandwiches used to be called Pete's Super Subs. I like Pete's Super Subs. Playboy was called Stag Party. Hugh Hefner called it Stag Party.
Oh. Oh.
In 1964, Nike debuted as Blue Ribbon Sports.
Yeah, all these suck, but we would have been used to it for sure. Like, you know, it's a corny example, but it is a good example. When they changed Musical.ly to TikTok, I thought that was so corny.
Yeah.
You know, I really did. I'm like, TikTok? How corny? Who's going to be into that?
Yeah, back
And
then
sure
it was
enough,
just a shitty Kesha song.
yeah, and sure enough, we all get used to it, and we don't skip a beat, and we accept it as such, and it's the biggest fucking thing going.
Ruth's Chris Steakhouse used to just be Chris's Steakhouse, and they threw Ruth in there.
No, that's not the story. Ruth is that lady that looks like Sally Jesse
No,
Raphael.
I'm saying they threw the name Ruth in there, but it was Chris's
No,
Steakhouse.
it was Chris's Steakhouse.
Yeah.
And if you look at the logo, Ruth, it became Ruth's apostrophe S.
Yeah, she
Ruth's
owns, yeah.
Chris Steakhouse. So it's Ruth's Chris Steakhouse.
Yeah.
It's not Ruth Chris Steakhouse. It's Ruth's Chris Steakhouse.
I think a lot of people don't get that right. You're absolutely
I got it right only because I've read the stupid story about her every time I go there. She looks like Sally Jesse Raphael.
Yeah, it's on
Look
the
her up.
wall. It's the same way.
Yeah,
it's the
it's
same
some
way.
old lady.
It's the same way people say espresso instead of espresso. I think everyone says Ruth's Chris wrong. The same way people say, like you always say Victoria's Secret wrong.
Yeah.
Victoria has a secret. Victoria's Secret. You always say Victoria's Secrets.
Always? Every time?
I feel like you've said it a lot because a lot of times you're like Victoria's Secrets. It's like,
I
no,
do.
she got one secret. It's Victoria, and she's got Victoria's Secret. But Ruth's Chris is a good one because I think a lot of people just say Ruth Chris like they think it's a dude or someone like Ruth Chris or a woman. Ruth's Chris. I'll give you one more and then we'll move on. Amazon, biggest company in the world. By the way, did you see Jeff Bezos was it Bezos or Elon Musk? They're saying it was one of them that might be the world's first trillionaire.
No, I don't know. I haven't heard this.
Like,
Did he
imagine that.
invest in
Like,
Shiba Inu?
like not even, they must have. Bezos.
Must be that Shiba Inu. I heard it's up like 900%.
Shiba Inu. Jeff Bezos founded what is now Amazon in 1994, but he wanted to call it Cadabra, short for abracadabra.
I knew that one actually, yeah.
His lawyer said that when he said cadabra, it sounded too much like cadaver, which is a dead body, and thought it was a bad look. So if the lawyer didn't say that, right now you'd be ordering all your packages from Cadabra, which sort of sounds appropriate because it's like, yo, you order some shit, it shows right up like, ta-da! I actually think...
Abracadabra? All the cool kids are saying that.
To be honest, I think Cadabra's fucking cooler than Amazon. Cadabra!
Well, we get used to it, man. We adapt and we adjust real quick. So, yeah, if it was Cadabra, we'd be cool with it. But Amazon, like, who gives a fuck? I'm cool with it, too.
So let's see. The other ones are not as fun. Starbucks used to be Cargo House, the original Starbucks coffee shop. Someone came up with the name. Let's see. Someone somehow came up with an old mini mining map. And there was an old mining town called Starbo. And the creator loved the book Moby Dick. So somehow combined Starbo with Moby Dick and came up with Starbucks. Ta-da! And eBay was Auction Web. Just throw it out there. Those are the ones. But it would be interesting if all of a sudden Facebook was a different name.
You know, there's a lot to be said about a good name. You want to know my really weak example? Because I had the same thought yesterday. Like we always say, the show sort of writes itself. Mm-hmm. We're always on the same train track of thought somehow, some way. And I was thinking along these lines, actually just yesterday. The importance of a name. Even though we adjust quickly, a good name or a good nickname, something memorable could make you so much more prominent in social media, in life, in whatever occupation you have. And I'll give you the dumbest example possible.
Let's hear it.
Because everyone's going to be like, I know that guy. Yeah, I know that guy. I love the fucking fat Asian guy that does all those tricks, and he pulls the silk sheet from the wine glasses and all the stupid things that he does.
I saw him knock a ping pong ball in a wine glass with his junk.
Dude, I posted that on you got to see it on my Instagram story at Steve Covino. This guy has continued to outdo himself, for years now, steadily. I'm so impressed by this guy, and he's so fucking funny, right?
Yeah.
And I would say that 80% of the people listening to us right now know who I'm talking about. Asian guy, he does like stupid tricks with like nipple tassels, and he's always doing something stupid. He's shooting CDs out of his ass into like a Nintendo Wii. Like, he's always doing something dumb. Do you know his name?
I don't actually.
Exactly. I don't think anybody does. So how can anyone really talk about the guy in a productive way for him? If he went by some sort of fucking name that was memorable,
Kadabra. If he was Kadabra.
If he was Kadabra, everyone would be like, yeah, Kadabra, that guy's fucking hilarious. But we have no reference point. We have to go through all this rigmarole to describe who we're talking about. He always has this like burgundy silk sort of...
trick, silk. It's Kadabra.
So the importance of a name, man. Like, I almost want to hit this guy up and tell him, I think you're a big star. I love you, man. I've been following you consistently for years, and I don't know your name. Nobody does. You need a good name, man. So there's a lot to be said about a good name.
Good name is very important.
That guy would be way more popular, Rich.
Sometimes I wish I came up with like a clever radio nickname. Like
Mayor McCheese isn't cool enough?
Nah, but like Covino and Rich are our names. Like, what about those shows where it's like Woody in the morning, and it's like, yeah, Woody, it's a nickname, but it's memorable. Like we always talk about how every time you work at a new place.
As far as I knew, Woody was his name. I worked with Woody. That's not his name.
I don't think his fucking name is Woody.
I thought his name. I fucking worked with him. He reached out to me recently. I still think his name is Woody. His name's not Woody.
He's probably like John Magoo, and you call him Woody, like Man Cow. Like I never listened to Man Cow, but I knew him because fucking name is Man Cow. Cousin Brucey, he's your fucking cuz. I don't know. I always thought that those people, like Bubba the Love Sponge, like you really can't forget that. Like if you either heard it or you haven't, right? Like, hey, have you heard of Bubba the Love Sponge? You're not going to be like, have I heard of Bubba the Love Sponge? Like, either you've heard of him or not. Like, it's a fucking name. His producer named him Woody, apparently.
I saw the feedback. I got a Woody in the morning. No one cares about that. Actually, Rich, I've been so sick.
Yeah. You haven't had a Woody?
I feel like my penis died.
Oh, my God.
I'm like, sorry, little guy.
You'll be back soon.
It looked up at me like, what's up, man? And I'm like, I just don't got it in me.
What's going on up there? We feel a little out of it.
Yeah. I think, I'm going to have to take its temperature later. But thanks for all the feedback, guys.
How do you do that?
I actually came from a different school of thought when it came to that stuff.
Wait, do you take your penis's temperature by putting it in someone else's mouth?
Yes.
Instead of a temperature?
Yes,
yeah, okay.
That's how it works. My train of thought was, things were changing. Like I came up the radio ranks with a bunch of people with stupid nicknames because that's just how it was. Jack the Whack and Liquid Todd and Kane and Altar Boy and Crazy Cabby and stupid things like that.
Yeah, what if you were Crazy Covino? Like maybe you would have made it further.
Wolfman Jack. Like we were coming up at the tail end of that. And then the mindset became, if you're going to be known, you should be known by your name, not by some nickname bullshit. Like, be proud of who you are. Like, you're putting your name on the map. You want to be known by your name. And I remember it was a big initiative for my buddy Altar Boy at the time. He wanted to be Brian McFadden.
Yeah.
And people were like, nah, you're Altar Boy. And when I got the chance to just be Covino, I was like, yeah, well, why the fuck would I want to be anything else? I'd rather be known by me.
Isn't there maybe a part of you that maybe you should have stuck with El Covino?
I mean, I still roll with it sometimes just for fun. Translation, the Covino.
I mean, you are the Covino.
It works.
By the way, as far as brands go, I mean, I would imagine most people know this, but I don't think everyone does. You know how HBO keeps changing their streaming packages? I wanted to watch the new Curb Your Enthusiasm. And I'm like, do I even have HBO right now? And you have to look over and like, HBO Go, HBO this, HBO this. Well, that's not the new one. HBO Max is HBO and Cinemax combined. But because it uses the word Max, I think some people think it might just be another like, you know what I'm saying? Like HBO Go, HBO Max. It's HBO.
No, I knew that.
Yeah, I'm saying I mean,
maybe most people don't, though. I don't know.
But yeah, so I was trying to figure out the new Curb, and I'm like, geez, like, do I have HBO? Then you start thinking, like, is it a matter of every couple months you start picking and choosing what services you use and then go back to them, and then you change them and then go back to them? Is that how you do it?
As far as subscriptions?
Yeah, like you might say, oh, you know what? There's some shows on Apple TV that I'm digging now. And then Apple TV might go through a lull, and you're like, all right, you know what? I'll put that on pause, and now I'll do HBO for a couple months. Is that sort of the future of how you think you'll do this?
No, usually what happens, guys like Biggie the Lion, Eric the Lion.
Yeah.
See, Biggie, everybody knows him as Biggie the Lion. It works for him.
Yeah.
Eric usually is insisting that I watch a show that he likes. So he throws his passwords my way. I don't ask for them ever.
But he gives them to you.
And
You'll
he's like,
take them.
no excuses. You got to watch this. So yeah, as long as that keeps going on, I'll ride with that.
Just to prove just to prove this dumb theory right, and then I want to talk about the dumbest story of the day. Our listeners, the ones with nicknames for the most part, are the ones that are memorable as far as remembering. Like, if Mauser was Mike in Cincinnati or Mike in Kentucky, would you really fucking remember him as much in the beginning?
I mean, coincidentally, it was a weird example because Mauser is his name.
Yeah, it's his last name, but like you don't know that. You might have thought it was a nickname, like a mouse or something. Like Eddie, your DJ. If he was just Eddie, you'd be like, oh, Eddie, I'm Eddie, your DJ. Like that's sort of stuck. The people with like nicknames.
A good one.
Sort of stick. Like
a good one can make all the difference. Yeah, for sure.
Or make you memorable, which is something I think we never thought out when we were early on in our radio career. When we worked at SNY in New York, I remember meeting some camera guy, and he's like, hey, I'm Spider. And you and I were like, well, we're never going to forget that guy's name. He's some little torpy guy named Spider.
I do remember that. It's a little gimmicky.
Yep.
It's a little cheesy sometimes, but you know, there is something to be said about it. Any speculation on what Facebook is thinking about changing their name to? Because I haven't seen that.
No, I haven't really seen anything firm, but I did see a story. Let me transition here to the most double standard story of all time. I want to say, hey, Fox News, Yahoo, CNN, anyone reporting this, shame on you. And I'll tell you why shame on you. Shame on you because this is the biggest stretch. And we've worked with a guy named Stretch, and he was pretty big. Hey, I'm Stretch in Hollywood.
I don't remember his real name.
No, but he was Stretch in Hollywood. See? Gimmick. This is the biggest stretch of a fucking story that makes me so angry because it's like, really, like you don't know what he's saying. It's one of those like people are playing dumb and acting way eye-rolly to me. Tony Romo is under fire. If you haven't seen this story, you're going to pull out your perfectly out of the shower wet hair, Covino. Have you seen this?
You mean Antonio Ramiro Romo?
That is the dude. Please tell me
I believe that's his name. Yeah, it's the Giselle story. It's so stupid.
Oh, it's the dumbest thing ever because I have a story to go along with it to show the weird double standard. And I'm all for women not being disrespected. I'm all for equality, as we all are. But I'm going to give you two stories, and you tell me how it would appear if it were the other way. And is that fair? Tony Romo is under fire, apparently for, quote, creepy comments. And I'm like, oh, what did Tony Romo do? He seems like such a good dude. I see him on social media with his kids. Tony Romo is one of those guys that I think we don't give enough credit for when he played. He just never had maybe the full package of a team. Tony Romo seems like a great guy, right?
Trying to bring the Vato down, bro.
Cowboys legend Tony Romo facing backlash over this comment. As the Tampa Bay Bucks staffer negotiated with that fan for Tom Brady's touchdown number 600, Tony Romo and Jim Nantz calling the game. And he's like, Oh, that guy negotiating. And quote Tony Romo, add a date with Giselle. A date with Giselle and I'm in. Okay, Tom will do it. One time? All right, you got it. So him jokingly saying a date with Giselle, there are people saying that Tony Romo is creepy and tasteless and using Giselle as a fantasy and Tom Brady's property to give away. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me?
That's the key. Treating her like as if she's someone's property. And Tony Romo doubled down on it. Like he said it multiple times, which was funny, but it was funny, you know,
like if you can't get the jet, like, so wait, we can't joke anymore, dude. You watch Ted Lasso, right?
That's it.
You're on the Lasso, yes sir, Steve Kerr bandwagon. Don't you remember the whole auction? They do auctions that are like, hey, win a date with a celebrity. You remember Jamie Tart and Roy were like the good-looking players that the old ladies were bidding on for a date with? If Tony Romo said, hey, for the football, Tom, have Giselle fuck him. That would be that would be a bit much. But a date, Covino, it's time for my daily mention of your ex-wife. When you guys first started dating, we did a contest on our radio show, Good Luck Schmuck, Good Luck Chuck, based on the movie. And the whole point was, at the time, your ex was doing modeling, and one of our listeners won a date with a Maxim model. Is that wrong? Like, they do these auctions at rich people events all the time. Like, it's like a fake date. This annoys me so much.
Yeah, I mean, it's the fact that we can't even take a joke, which is the continuous theme of 2021. I'll shout out Joe Fiore way back on a Wednesday because he won that contest. I
love Joe.
With my ex, I remember. But yeah, she was featured in Maxim, and you know, you could say it's objectifying, or you could say, yeah, he was making a joke. Dude. I mean, his wife is a supermodel.
His wife is a supermodel. So how is that not a joke that people comprehend? Like, is it weird that I don't even, like, I can't even fathom how someone could say, man, Tony Romo, you fucking creep.
I'm Key says you're bartering someone else's wife. Very anti-feminist of you to support Romo. No, because he said it in jest. He didn't say it seriously. It was very obvious that he was joking. So if he was serious, then you got a point, I'm Key. But he was joking about it.
Yeah. I mean, it's a joke.
There's a bunch of hate articles written about Tony Romo and how he's objectifying women and treating women like property and how wrong it was. And there's all these hate speeches.
So if some good-looking woman or some old lady was like, I want to, what I would do to rub on Zac Efron's abs, is that okay?
No.
Like, are we not allowed to make any joke anymore? You see Terry Bradshaw? I'm so glad this story went away a week ago. Terry Bradshaw complimented Erin Andrews' outfit. And he didn't have to apologize. He didn't have to, the network said nothing. But the fact that social media is like, what a creep. I have the audio of that. Do you want to hear that?
I do, yeah, because I didn't hear this. But.
So Erin Andrews is wearing like a cowboy looking outfit. And Terry Bradshaw talks about he started riding a horse when he was 3 and asked her, like, said she looked good. When was the last time she rode on a horse? And everyone's like, creepy. And it's like, or he fucking knows her. They're coworkers. And I don't know. Take a listen. Terry Bradshaw.
You got your cowboy boots on and your shirt. You're looking good. That was nice. I enjoyed that interview. Devin White. You got your cowboy boots on and your shirt. You're looking good. That was nice. I enjoyed that interview.
And people are like, by him saying, you got your cowboy boots, your shirt, you're looking good. I enjoyed that interview is offensive? What the fuck is going on planet Earth?
I mean, Jason Brown makes a good point. Like, who's upset by this? It's just, we're also to blame by putting so much value and so much stock into people that really shouldn't matter whatsoever. But we all do walk that fine line now, and it's really weird. Like Rich, you paid a compliment to the women we had lunch with the other day, and you were like, man, should I have said that? I'm like, yeah, there's nothing wrong with it. But in today's world, you just don't want to fucking say anything.
So I look at the, so it's so wild because Jason, if that's the point he made, what a great thought is, well, who really is mad? Because I'll tell you who's not mad. Giselle, Tom Brady, Aaron Andrews, or Terry Bradshaw. None of those people are mad at each other or upset. I don't think Tom Brady or Giselle, they probably laughed at the Romo joke. I bet you've seen Giselle and Tom's relationship. You'd seen Tom. I saw Tom do a funny interview recently where he talked about how he took his preteen son to a Super Bowl after party and Snoop Dogg was there and they were like stripper poles. And he's like, oh man, if my ex-wife ever found out, geez, like these people are normal. Like, do you think Tom Brady's ex-wife Giselle, who's married to the most popular dude in sports, is offended by a supermodel go on a date with her joke?
And it's in reference to what could this guy cash in on that's of the highest prized possession of Tom Brady. You know, what's greater than money? Oh, a date with Giselle. Like, that's great.
Yeah.
It was said in total jest, and it was a passing comment that made you smirk, if anything, and a bunch of tool bags, run with it and make it something that it shouldn't be whatsoever.
So
we as the public and we as media have to stop giving so much power to these fucking losers. It's really who they are. Bunch of fucking lamos.
Bree said, Lord, please just send a meteor to wipe us all out. I think it's time. Maybe, Bree, maybe you're right. Yeah. His wife is a supermodel. The end. So Tony Romo making a joke that, hey, what can we barter here? Hey, how about a date with your supermodel wife? That's called a fucking joke. Tony Romo being quick on his feet, not being a stiff announcer. All right.
I hope he doesn't have to apologize. And what's the double standard? The fact that women objectify guys in this way all the time?
That's why my follow-up story is an interesting one as well. Because on one foot, Tom Brady and Giselle were getting... Oh, by the way, people are questioning Tom Brady's ex, his son's mother, Bridget Moynihan. There's a story. If I could find it, let me try to find it. It's about Maroon 5. I think I got it.
Oh.
Adam Levine, some girl jumped on stage and hugged Adam Levine. And his response wasn't like, safety, creepy. He was like, yo, I've always been someone that respects and loves and worships our fans. Without our fans, we don't have a job. I say it all the time to our fans. To think that anyone thought our fans are beneath us makes my stomach turn. That's just not who I am. And he sort of just rolled with it. And imagine if a dude jumped on stage with a woman. Yeah, I think it would be a little unsafe, but like people just love to make stories out of nothing. And we all, I don't know if we're all guilty for even reacting. Like maybe if we stopped getting mad about it, it would go away, but I don't know.
It's a big problem in society, man. It really is. It's like a huge problem in society. The fact that we give so much power to the like pussy minority. Pardon my French. I'm sick, so I'll say it how I feel.
Yeah.
Like we're really bowing down to like the weakest common denominator.
Yeah.
Like, there's 20 people that have an issue with this. Fuck, we better watch what we do. Fuck, we got to get to the point where someone's like, yeah, no, fuck you guys. Grow a spine.
Yeah.
Bitches.
Yeah. There was a story out of possibly, it might have been your girlfriend's home state of Idaho, I believe, where they were canceling a Halloween celebration because a few kids in the class were like, yeah, we don't celebrate Halloween. And they canceled like a whole Halloween parade or celebration. And they're like, why? They're like, well, like two of the kids, their families don't do it. And it's like, so you're going to fucking take away the Halloween parade? And they're like, well, it's not all inclusive then. It's like, how about you just tell those two fucking people to just sit it out or not participate? Or, hey, yeah, listen, if you don't feel comfortable, don't come in that day. I'm amazed. You nailed it. And it's the sentiment that has been going on for a while now where...
Yeah, but it needs to stop. Like now we're at the point where it's like, if shit doesn't change and we continue to go down this path, like who wants to live in this fucking lame ass world where you can't even make a joke like Tony Romo? Like it's infiltrated our world and in our lives in so many different ways. Like as a society, we're a bunch of fucking pussies.
Maybe we need
we
need the Dave Chappelles of the world who are uncancelable to carry this torch, because as Andrew hit us up, Netflix is starting to change their tune and back Dave Chappelle. And to me, it's the whole sense of, yeah, you really upset a couple people. A couple people. That would be like Covino. Picture a stadium.
By the way, you know what real equality is? You know, being part of the joke. Like Dave Chappelle's comedy.
Yeah.
I mean, why should anybody be off limits?
Yeah. It's comedy and it's jokes.
But it's equality at the same time.
It's people that are uncancelable, like the Rogans and the Chappelles of the world, that I feel like are teaming up and they're going to start a movement. They really are. I really feel that way. I'm not even joking.
I hope they do. There needs to be pushback on the spineless America we've become, and we have to stop bowing down again, the small minority of fucking what's the word? Softies.
Softy.
Softy
Can I make a prediction that is I'd bet my Shiba Inu on it. I'd bet my Shiba Inu Doge and Bitcoin on it. And you're going to agree with me. George Foreman, guarantee a Republican wins the election in 2024.
Yeah, I agree.
No chance. And that's no knock on, I'm not saying I hate Joe Biden. I'm just saying, it's like, was I talking to Spot about this or I was talking to my friend Christina about this, and I said, it's wild when people that I've known my whole life that I would consider Democratic or, that lean liberal, when they're like, what the fuck is going on? Right? And the Bill Maher's of the world are like, yo, what the fuck? Then you've lost, when you lose those people, I think the Republicans win the election in 2024. Hands down. I can't see it going another way. Like, I feel like I want to make a prop bet right now in Vegas that I don't care who the candidate is. I don't care if it's Rick DeSantis, Donald Trump, whoever. My feeling is that in 2024, a Republican will win the election no matter what.
Well, we can't let the overcorrection become the final sort of correction.
Yeah, so
there needs
I'm
to
saying
push back to find a better balance.
Because of
Our
that,
society stinks.
Because of all the eye rolling and because of all these type of stories and everything going on, I promise you, it's 2024. I would be amazed if just the back and forth continues and they're like, all right, now we got to go correct the other way now because we've corrected too far this way, and the pendulum will just keep going back and forth every 4 years. That's my prediction. All right. That's the Tony Romo story.
Tony Romo.
The Maroon 5 story. Yeah, Tony Romo's probably thinking, yo, I'm having fun with Jim Nantz, calling games, making money. Fucking stop it. Leave me alone. Leave me alone. As what comedian is that?
Pablo Francisco
doing Jet Li. All right.
I have a question for you, Rich.
Yeah, buddy.
Just a random way back Wednesday observation that I'm making. And I want to thank all you guys for your feedback. Alejandro Michael, P10, Bill Jackson.
Did I say Rick DeSantis? I meant Ron DeSantis. Rick is his, that's like his bootleg brother. It's like Rod Zombie.
P10, Lynn Brower, Michael E. Thank you guys. The Island Boys, they're watching. They're just trying to make
Island Boys.
I'm sick, and we all have like our sick attire, right? So right now I'm wearing like a Long John shirt.
Spot went to Long John Silver's.
Yeah, I'm just trying to be comfy, man. Like I feel like ass. But because I keep getting chills and I got a fever and everything.
Are they multiplying or are you okay?
No, they're multiplying, definitely. I'm rocking what I've mentioned before here on the show, but I don't think anyone's ever seen it. This is the oldest piece of garment, oldest piece of clothing that I own. This is an original OG. Slobby Robbie would want to buy this fucking bad boy, Tommy Hilfiger, from like 1991. Some shit. I've had this shit that long. So when parents used to say I got underwear older than you and shit like that, I totally know how that feels because this piece of shit somehow made the cut and has been my comfy sweatshirt since I swear to God, I think 1991. And it says right on it, established 1985. I got this just a few years after that.
You got it as it was established.
Yes. I've had this shit that long.
I think about it when it comes to your daughter. I could probably tell your daughter Melody that I have a lot of shit older than her because to be honest, there's t-shirts I probably still have in the drawer that are in the gym rotation or I break out once in a blue moon that are probably 12 years old. You're trying to tell me you don't have a t-shirt that you wear to the gym or out and about or in the yard doing work. If you don't have a shirt from the 2000s, I'm calling you a liar. There's no way every shirt you have is super fresh. You got your fresh good pile, but at the bottom of that pile, you might have some graphic tee from 07 or something.
I see a lot of questions posed like that on social media. Like, do you have a shirt that's older than 10 years? I don't know, like stupid shit like that. And I'm like, yeah, I got a sweatshirt and it's celebrating his 30th anniversary as we speak. So let's celebrate this bad boy. Talk about getting your money's worth. I believe I got it at Christmas 91. Tommy Hilfiger before his, whole racist rant and shit. But then there's always questions posed like, do you have a friend that you've known for longer than 10 years? And I'm always shocked to see people don't. I'm like, you don't have a friend that you've known longer than 10 years? Apparently there's a lot of people that say no to that.
It's wild.
And I'm always amazed by that.
Well, you know what? I'll tell you why. Maybe I'm just saying this because of where you're seeing these little questions being asked. If you're asking a 26-year-old, if you're asking a 26-year-old on TikTok, if they disassociated with all their high school pals and they're like, I've moved on, like they probably don't have any old friends.
To me, that's a great indicator that you had a miserable childhood.
I think about it. I think for me, the better as you get older, to me, the better question is, who are your newer friends? Like all my friends are my high school and college buds, you and Spot, Nico, Sal, all my radio friends I've known for like 20 years. If you were to ask me who are my newer friends, like I've known Mark Zito for over a decade. I would say my newest friend might be the guy Zach I play softball with. I've known him for maybe like 4 or 5 years. And that might be like my newest friend. Who's your newest friend?
My newest friend.
Who's your newest buddy that if you got married, they'd be at the wedding, but it's someone you met? That's a good question. If you and Jordan get married, who's the newest attendee?
That's a good one. I mean, I don't know. I have a lot of guys that we've met through the show that I consider friends,
Barry, Gus, even the guys that you consider friends through the show, the Drew Max or the Vic and Torontos or the Eddie your DJs and the Narzans and the Steves and
the Handsome Gabes.
The Handsome Gabes. All these are people that we've all known for over a decade.
Tell you what, I wouldn't invite Franz to my wedding because I want my hairline to be the best one.
Fair point. But you've known Franz a decade. So who's your
Franz's forehead is like, he has a 2 head. He's got such a hairline. Looks like Silvio.
He could spare some of that for Peyton Manning. He could be like, Peyton, take 2 of these. Go.
No, it's just a random thought way back on a Wednesday that I've owned this sweatshirt here for over 30 years. I'm not even kidding you, man. Oh. And it's been my little comfort sweatshirt when I'm feeling sick or when I'm feeling cold. And it made me think about these other questions that I see on social media about, well, what's the oldest thing you own? Do you own anything that's over 10 years old? And I'm like, yeah. Do you have any friends that you've had for over 10 years? I'm like, yeah, I've had friends. I have friends till this day that I was friends with in kindergarten.
Yeah.
Like if you don't, I think you're a fucking asshole. I really do, man. I know life happens, but you don't have not one friend for over 10 years.
Well, I think why that might happen is we have a friend in our circle, not me and you, like my high school crew, that she sort of went a weird way, and then I think she was embarrassed to get back in the circle, and we saw her on social media like she found a whole new circle of friends. No hard feelings. Like I have no problems with her. I've reached out to say hi, but she made, I think, an obvious choice. Like this is someone that was part of our like high school crew years ago. She has like a whole new crew. Like she has a family, and everyone just sort of went her own way. So unless you go your own way, how do you not have anyone from your past? And by the way, did Sergio ghost you? Because he might be your latest friend. Sergio.
That's a good one. The update on Sergio, my pen pal, social media friend from Italy, from Naples. You want to know what happened? It's really weird, actually.
Yeah.
We were still going back and forth about fights and stupid shit. And Steve, Oscar De La Hoya, he's the classy, he's a real professional, right? To all of a sudden, his messages stopped. And then Jordan asked me about him or something like that. I looked him up and poof, he's gone off of social media. And I only hope that he's okay because he's not on social media anymore.
So wait, you communicated him, like you can't even communicate with him anymore?
He's not on I was communicating with him through Instagram.
So your your voice messages were through like all through like Instagram. All Instagram DMs?
All Instagram DMs, and he was a real dude. And, he had a girlfriend and pictures of his whole life. And, it was a real guy. Somehow all of his social media is completely gone. I'm like, man, I hope he's alive. I don't know what happened to the guy.
Someone you haven't really seen much in the last year or so, but that's probably because of COVID and the pandemic and everything. But I figured out who your newest friend is.
Who?
Because I feel like he's one of my newest friends too. Hercules Gomez from ESPN.
I love Hercules. Yeah, he's great.
He might be
he
might be one of those dudes that like outside of work, we were pals with him, and just, life and us leaving ESPN and COVID and all these things, get in the way of like the last year and a half of friendship. So I think he'd probably be your most recent friend, maybe.
It's a good one. It's a good one. But then you think about these other relationships, like, like we joke about Colton and everything like that. There's definitely new people in my life who'd be at my wedding.
Well, as the old thought goes, when you're 50, 60 years old, look at your Christmas Eve dinner. It's going to be a bunch of people that aren't in your life now, because it's going to be your kids and their spouses and maybe grandkids and shit like that. Like when you're an older guy, who's your inner circle is different than it is now anyway.
Well, even though friends come and go, and it does make you think way back on a Wednesday, some friendships just faded away, and you're not even sure why.
Yeah.
You still have ones that lasted, and through all the friendships, I still got the sweatshirt.
Hey, by the way, one last thing about Sergio. Did you look him up under Jordan's account to see if like maybe he blocked you? Maybe he got wind that you joked about him on the radio and he wasn't a good sport and he blocked you. Like, did you look him up under Jordan's account?
I see Alex Efforts asked that. No, I don't. I wouldn't know how to find him.
No, meaning
outside
like
of that.
You don't know his screen name. You were just so locked into.
I would just search his name in my inbox and he'd be there. Now he's gone. It's like a dream. Did he ever really exist? I don't know.
Oh, Sergio.
Hey, did you ever, speaking of like, longtime friendships.
Yeah. You
ever have a friendship that was so tight but just ended, and it's like a weird thing looking back on it?
Yeah.
Because you don't really know what happened.
Yeah, I don't really talk about him much on this show because it was like way before I even met you and Spot.
Yeah.
But when I think about childhood, you hear me talk about Sean and Walter and Christina, like you know the names that come up. Like if you listen closely to the show, you know those same names. The same way Barry and Gus and the same handful of names for all of us pop up, right?
I have theories. I'll tell you my theories. But go ahead.
But in that mix of the Christinas and Walters and Sean's and Matt's and Barry's and Gus's and all those people, my buddy Phil was the guy that I was with when I kissed a girl for the first time. Phil was the guy I would go to the roller skating rink with. We'd go to the mall to try to talk to girls. He was like my little, he was the one kid I connected with as like a preteen teenager that was all about talking to girls and collecting baseball cards. Phil was the guy that I'd go to the baseball card shop with and meet girls with. Probably.
Phil Mabosak, right?
Yeah, Phil Mabosak. Phil was probably.
Didn't you make out at the roller skating rink? But he dished you off to the fat girl.
That's how I became a cockblock for the first time. He skated with the cute girl, and he's like, "Yo, bro, can you skate with her friend just so I could get her alone?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." And I was like, "Where's her friend?" And her friend was like a fat girl with chickenpox. And from that day on, I was like, I will now be a cockblock. But when you look back, Phil and I. He stayed home and was a commuter to college and like worked with his dad's company and like sort of just really dove into life real quick that way, where I went away to school and that was it. Like, see you later. It was weird. He came to one of our events. You remember he came to one of our events, the bowling event?
I do remember, yeah.
And I was like, yo, this is my dude, Phil. And I saw him and he's like, yo, we caught up that night and never talked again.
I have two friendships and two theories on what happened. One with my buddy Rich. We were like Little League friends forever. And I think, honest to God, and we would travel together. We were like best buds, man. I think that he was too competitive with me. Does that make sense?
That could happen, yeah. That'll ruin a friendship.
Like, I remember we'd be down the shore and like he'd get real mad if a girl showed interest in me. And if he shined a little less bright because I was around,
he couldn't handle it.
I don't think he vibed with that and sort of like drifted and became the main dude in his own little circle or something. He also moved away. But I think the friendship faded because he didn't like feeling second fiddle. Not that he was a really cool guy. But I was just pretty awesome.
You know, I think
that's one theory.
The number one answer on the board for why these friendships probably fade, I'll be honest, is different lifestyles. If one guy is like, yeah, dude, I got married, I got kids, I got responsibilities, and the other guy's like, yo, bro, let's go to the club. Like, those friends are going to probably fade because they have nothing lifestyle in common. If you're worried about, fuck, I got to go run to the store and get milk, and my kids are fucking throwing up, and all right, it's bedtime, and I'm reading bedtime stories, and your friend's like, yo, bro, it's Thursday night. Let's watch Thursday Night Football and get fucked up at the bar. Like, you and that guy will probably still hang, but that fucking best friendship, how could it maintain?
It's a weird sort of feeling looking back, though, because you think about how close you guys were at that point in your life. And I had a friend named Larry that I was friends with for years, man. Like, that dude slept over in my house and was part of my family for years and years and years. And I think once we started having girlfriends, we started creating other circles and we just sort of just drifted apart. But you fast forward, like I just got an invite to his wedding in the mail the other day. And I thought it was kind of cool that after all these years, even though our friendship faded, you know, he still thought of enough about that to include me on his invite. So I reached out and I was like, hey man, congratulations. That's awesome to see. And I also think that's the beauty of social media too, because you're able to still rekindle those friendships here and there with a little comment. And, you know, I do that with both of those relationships.
I think, obviously our show is such a big part of our lives that's what keeps us connected. Me, you, and Spot, right? And our listeners and the people we met along the way. But people not involved in our little circle may not relate to your lifestyle, where you are in your life, and where you are in your career, right? Like, Covino, sometimes it might be hard for someone to understand your career. Like, you're like, I do a radio show, and then I do a TV show, and then I did this. And like, you might have such a different lifestyle and schedule that someone else might feel like, well, I don't relate to that guy anymore. You don't think the person that had kids 15 years before you that has an office job might be like, yeah, Covino and I don't know what we could really bond over anymore.
Yeah, 100%.
Right? I mean,
100%.
I'll be honest, like I have a group text with all my high school friends, and it's not to sound rude, but I sometimes feel bad. Let's say it's a big group of people on the chat, 10 plus people. If people start talking about something parent related, the people on the chat that don't have kids are probably like, fuck this chat. They probably like mute it, or they really feel like, well, what the fuck do I have in common with this? Like, one of my friends the other day was like, yo, at my kid's school, someone tested positive. Now I got to figure out what to do with my kid for the next week because all the kids have to get tested and stay home. And it's like, all the other parents like, yeah, that happened at my kid's school last week. And the friends without kids are like, can we talk about something better than this?
Cliff Mysaka hit us up and said the same thing. One of the biggest sort of reasons that friendships fade is that disconnect, because some people choose to not have that dad life and they become unrelatable to you and vice versa. You know, and you're no longer at their beck and call.
You know who has to do more of the giving there? it sounds terrible, but the single friend has to do more of the understanding and giving. Like, who's been pretty good about that is our friend Shannon. Like we're so wrapped up in life with 2 little kids that if Shannon wasn't cool coming over here and hanging in the pool or having a barbecue or watching a movie or something, like, do you think Sarah could be like, girls brunch? Like, that friendship would suffer if your single friend doesn't make adjustments.
Did you have the moment way back on a Wednesday where your parents were like, what happened to Phil? You guys were so close.
Yes, my mom.
I don't know, Mom. I'm good. I don't know. We're cool. I don't know what happened. Like, why are you dwelling on it?
If your mom if your mom or dad still lives in your old hometown, do they ever hit you up with the old, like, guess who I saw at Rite Aid today? And you're like, I don't know. And they'll bring up some kid you knew 30 years ago. And you're like, yeah, I don't fucking know.
Don't you feel bad that you guys aren't friends anymore? And you're like, not really. I sort of traded him for like hot chicks. But yeah, we had a nice run, you know.
Steven, guess who I saw today at Tony Napkins Pizza? Oh, Mom. What is it, Johnny Napkins?
Johnny Napkins.
Guess who I saw at Johnny Napkins, Steven? Oh, Ma. You remember Dougie, the kid you played Little League with? Yeah, Mom, I haven't seen him since 92. Oh, but you guys were so close.
You know what's funny, though, is those people that I speak of that did fade away like that, when they do reach out, they always reach out to credit my parents for being so welcoming to them.
Yeah.
When I feel like I think they needed it. Like, that's why they were around so much, because they hated being at their own house.
Yeah.
You know, so they're always at my house. So they always speak so highly of my parents. But anyway, way back on a Wednesday, just reminiscing, thinking about how long I had the sweatshirt. And again, how some people in today's world, it's just, people are just so fleeting. The value of relationships just doesn't seem to be what it used to be. I noticed that there was like a high trend of people saying they didn't have friends that they've known for longer than 10 years.
Wild.
And I understand people grow apart, and I understand lives change, and I understand people move. But with social media, I think that's really fucking weird.
By the way, my sister.
I think that says a lot about you, man.
You know, I think something your mom posted that my sister could relate to, but people saying, do you think that's why Shannon pees in your pool? Absolutely. Ryan says, my mom, what happened to Joe from high school? Me. Ma, I don't know. I graduated 25 years ago.
I don't know. Yeah, he got a girlfriend. I got a girlfriend. I don't know.
But what your mom's insinuating, Covino, to wrap this up and round it out, she said, you know, when you're a parent and your kid has a best friend, you sort of take a liking to that kid. And your mom, the comment's too far away now, but your mom sort of insinuated that your sister had a real tight friend that was almost like part of the family that faded away, and your mom like misses that kid.
I'm sure. Even my, ex-girlfriends, things like that. It's tough. I mean, even as a dad to a 12-year-old, I feel bad that my Melody isn't friends with her little childhood pal. Like, you do feel bad about that. Like, Melody,
the little best friend girl. I even know.
Yeah, Lauren. Melody, you don't. And there's so many factors, because I believe the parents got in the way of their friendship. Not me.
When the parents, I remember when Melody was a little girl and she had like her first friends. I even remember Lauren, because every time I went to your house or saw you, Melody was with Lauren.
Inseparable, yeah. And I'm like, Melody, you don't want to like give her a call and say hi? Like, I'm pulling my mom tactics, but I'm trying not to press her and make her feel bad about it.
Melody, what happened to Lauren?
Yeah.
Dad, kindergarten was like 5 years ago.
Exactly. So anyway, it's fun to think about. And like I said, when social media is right there at your fingertips, man, it's so easy to drop a hello. And it does mean a lot to me when I hear from these people and they're like, hey, man, I know we haven't talked, in a long time, but I'll never forget, how welcoming your family was. And I hope you're doing good, man. I see you're kicking ass. And that's always good to hear.
Some people get wrapped up also because they just have a lot going on, right? Some people,
I guess so.
Some people because they have a lot going on. And I feel like my brother falls in that category, not to throw Top Jimmy under the bus, but I mean, he'd be probably the first to admit it. Jimmy really doesn't have any friends. Like, he lives in Maryland. He's really wrapped up with his awesome son who, has some special needs, and his wife, and they live at home with the mother-in-law, and they just have a very busy life in their circle that I can promise you, my brother has not hung out alone with another grown man, like for a drink or a beer or to go to a game even before the pandemic. Like, we're talking for a couple of years. Like, Jimmy's just in his fucking lane. And if you ask my brother, when was the last time he had like a guy's night out? He'd probably say when he saw us in D.C. for our road trip 2.5 years ago. I bet you that's the last time he was out with a bunch of other men. Some people get wrapped up heavy. I love Steven's old girlfriends. They were all wonderful. That's from your mom.
They were. Yeah, they're all part of the family, you know. So it is sad to see. It's sad, but hey, like I said, through all the relationships, through all the ups and downs, this Tommy Hilfiger sweatshirt remains.
You know what I always feel
oldest, like? It's the oldest item I own, bro.
It must give your friends' parents joy. Every time I'm in my hometown, which is rare, every couple of years, because I have nothing that really brings me to Franklin Square. My family doesn't live there. My mom's out on Long Island. My dad's in Queens. So if I ever happen to pass through Franklin Square to get a A&S bagel, get a slice of pizza at my favorite spot, I'll stop by. I'll drive past like one or two of my friends' childhood houses because they're right there. It's a small little neighborhood. If I see like the front door open or the car in the driveway, a little, hey, just figured I'd say hi. Your parents' friends are always so happy to see you because you remind them of probably such a great time of their life when their kids were little.
Yeah, no, that's a great takeaway to wrap this reminiscing on, because yeah, I don't think people do that enough, especially as our buddies' parents are getting older. You know, I dropped the ball last time. I should have said hi to Barnando's parents while I was in Union.
Yeah, they're right around the block. I mean,
yeah,
even if it was like when I'm saying stop by, I'm talking 2 minutes. Like, hey, I'm in town and just want to say hi, see your face. All right, you have a good one. Hope you're well. So that is a dope sweatshirt. Can you show everyone a little closer? The logo, it's still on there. That patch is still like,
you know, it's funny. It's really not. It's just always been comfy to me. Like, there it is. There's no reason as to why this made the cut for all of these years.
Yeah.
I've had much doper sweatshirts that have come and gone.
Sweatshirts they've
came and went.
And by the way, I agree with Wes that my brother, when you see my brother out and about, he's one of the most friendly, fun guys. So that's why I'm always sort of like, I guess he's living his own life. None of my business. But that's why I'm always like, yeah, sometimes some people just don't want to do it. They don't want to put the effort in. I know, right? I mean, that's sort of what you got to assume.
I think your brother needs to fucking get out a little more, you know, especially when he deals with so much. I think he needs a friend here and there.
A little breather here and there. My brother, he deals with a lot for sure.
Hey, speaking of, I'm going to do one more show and tell because I'm here in Melody's room. So this is the oldest garment that I own, right?
Okay,
this is from the early 90s, like 91. But hold on, I got something even better.
What's that? Covino going to get a remnant, some from the archives. What is he going to come back with? He's going to say, this microphone. No, wait, this Dom Mattingly mustache I got from Steiner Sports. The shavings. Well, let's see what he's got here.
Actually, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Go ahead.
See this clock?
Oh my God, that alarm clock looks like it's from 1986. Whoa.
See this clock? By the way, Matt, look at it.
Wow, look at that. Look at you.
Okay, hold on.
That alarm clock. And by the way, I think I read somewhere I'm not even joking. I read somewhere that most people's oldest item is an alarm clock because there's really no purpose to replace it.
Well, hold on, dude. Melody takes a liking to it, which I find to be nice because that is the only thing that I own till this day that was in my childhood bedroom in my first ever house, like for my entire life.
That's so cool.
That's Melody. I've had that Panasonic clock since the 80s for sure, since I was a little kid. And that little piece on top of it, Magic Mark made us. So shout out to Magic Mark. But yo, that's the oldest garment. That's the oldest item that I have.
That's
and it's in my daughter's room. So little way back Wednesday reminiscent show and tell with Covino and Rich. That's my Panasonic clock that just keeps on going, man.
Could I, since we're ADD radio, Covino still has a pair of blue ribbon sports shoes before it was Nike. It's a good one, Alex. So ADD radio, other stuff to get to, but you brought up a clock, and I got to say this. When you no longer have a cable box, you don't have a cable box, right?
Nah, man. I haven't had a cable box since the Layla days. We cut the cord. Last thing I had was Dish.
You were one of the first people I remember totally cutting the cord. You're like, yo, bro, I'm doing a sling. And I was like, really? You're cutting the cord? Whoa.
Yeah, out of desperation, for sure.
Yeah. So for me, it's been a long time as well. You use a Fire Stick, or people use Roku, Apple TV. It sounds like the stupidest thing, and the answer's simple, Covino. Buy a clock. But you don't know how many times I'm like, what time is it? And I can't find, I have to go like look at my phone's always sort of close by. But the idea of glancing up at what time is it? Like, you know, when you're watching TV late at night and you would always just look up like, oh, it's 10:37. You can't do that anymore. You got to look at your phone or grab your phone or do something, because do you display a big clock in your house?
No, it's a good point. You're right. I mean, we were so accustomed to the old VCR.
The VCR or the cable box always had a digital timer right in front of your TV, which sounds so stupid. Yeah, Rich, go buy a clock. I'm going to. But it's funny that usually you had a in eyesight, whether it's the microwave, the cable box, or something, always had some type of digital clock for a quick glance. Now it's like you got to reach for your phone and be like, what time is it? All right. Spot, I said clock. Spot's chiming in on the in-show.
Where is Spot, by the way?
I don't know. Yesterday, Sarah said he was sitting on our patio, just chilling outdoors, getting some fresh air. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I know he's hurting, man.
I think he was just...
I'm hurting, and, you know, it's frustrating and it's aggravating. I'm really pissed off. I think one of my symptoms is headache, and I'm angry, so...
Headache.
I think, yeah, I don't know. I have to look up the symptoms. Like, is anger and frustration a part of it? Because that's what I'm feeling the most. All right. So that's my my little show and tell for my way back Wednesday.
Now, let's see. What did I write here? Oh, one last thought about Spot said, I'm there right now. He's chilling in the yard.
Well, you need, they say sunlight. You know, you need your vitamin D.
Is that why? But hold on, let me take a look.
Say that helps.
Spot's,
maybe he should.
He's got his ass up. Is he doing that thing where when people get vitamin D through their asshole tanning?
Do that.
Draw the blind, Spot. We're talking about friendships, so I might as well throw this in there. Kiefer and Aaron got married over the weekend. 2 listeners that are friends of ours over the years, and does that? I don't know why. At first, it didn't hit me, and then I was like, "Yeah, how cool is that?" 2 people that met through our show found love, and some of the pictures from their wedding were with other listeners that they met through the show. Like, a lot of their circle of friends is the Covino and Rich family. That sort of made me feel nice.
That's fucking awesome.
Isn't that? I look at Kiefer and Aaron embracing their wedding day, and you see like the likes of who was in that picture? Joe and J-Dub and random friends we've met throughout the years.
I think Ryan was in there.
Yeah.
I remember seeing it briefly. Vic and Toronto was supposed to be there.
There's Jim Miller. Like, just people that we've known and become pals with over the years. It's pretty cool to see that. Look at them all there celebrating together. What's their tie? What's their connection? Why do these people even know each other? Let's take a picture of people. I'm thinking to myself, our silly radio show created friendships and a marriage? Jeez, pretty cool, right?
Definitely, man. Definitely. It's nice to see that validation because, we seemed a little indispensable come contract time. So it's nice to get that confirmation that we did make a difference and, we did have impact on people's lives. That's the greatest sort of bonus you could ask for. That, all these people, we've changed their lives and friendships forever.
Would you say that's awesome? Does that make you happier, or the fact that Rocket Dog and JC in Kentucky are like the best buddies?
Who's getting married next? Doug and Dave Abbey, or Rocket Dog and JC in Kentucky?
I'm gonna go with them.
Yeah?
Big revelation. Yeah. Let's see. We need to set up a GoFundMe for a meetup next year. Who's meeting up? You want it to be at their wedding, Baxter. I know some Canadians were saying they were going to go, but it's still not easy to get from Canada to the States. Now, a couple more stories we'll get to, and we'll maybe call it a little early today. But I took a little bit, Covino, of a bunch of like random things out of the fridge that are very flavorful, and I'm still feeling like I can't taste any of this stuff. Like the lemon is like, doesn't taste like anything.
It's hard to feel sorry for you when I'm like, I feel like I'm dying. I could be on my last breath.
I feel like, depending on how long the tasting lasts, I wonder what I would prefer, to have felt shitty for a couple days or lose taste, depending on, you don't know how long it's going to last. Like, I'm like,
I think Spot and I would trade with you in a heartbeat.
Really? Because I think I might. Like,
nah, I don't think so, man.
Well, it depends on how long it lasts. If it lasts a couple weeks, yes, easier with the taste. But if it's months and months, would you want to lose your taste buds for months?
No, but you know what I find frustrating? I mean, besides everything about this?
Chocolate. Nope. Mustard. So everything is bland. Everything just tastes like, you taste the texture, but nothing else.
Every morning I wake up on the scale and, because my penis has no life. I haven't even felt a pulse in my peen in like 5 days.
Hot peppers, nothing.
And, I really haven't had much of an appetite either. And every time I jump on the scale, it's the same shit. And I'm like, yo, I thought the one perk out of this would, for me to like lose a few pounds.
Sour candy, nothing. But you know what? I think you will lose. You don't lose weight the day of, like in a couple days. You'll probably see the scale go down a little bit.
So, guy, what else do you got there for your taste test?
No, I got mustard, hot peppers, peanut butter, chocolate, and lemon, and it all just sort of like.
Yo, is Spot still there? Because I'm sure he'd want you to lick his ass.
Oh, Spot could fart in my face.
Let's see if you could taste that. Tell me how my ass tastes.
I'm trying to decide, like, if I don't look at it or close my eyes, like, do I even taste anything? Like, visually, there's probably some trick where, like, by just looking at it, you sort of feel like you could visualize what it tastes like. I saw a funny video on TikTok. It said, your tongue knows what everything would feel like, yet your tongue's never been there. Like,
that's a weird thought. Yeah.
Like, your tongue knows what the bottom of a shoe would feel like. But have you ever licked the bottom of a shoe? But your tongue, you know what it would be like. If I said, Covino, lick that curtain behind you. You've never licked your curtain, but your tongue and mind knows what that would be like.
It's one of those, you need some edibles to really wrap your head around that. But I do get it and I do understand it.
Took you a week and you got your smell and taste back? Yeah, I hope so. Because they say like 20% of people that lose their taste and smell, it takes them like months and months to get it back. And I'm like, that's like the worst. Like, not being able to taste something or smell something. It's two of your senses.
I really hope. I think everybody hopes that Rich gets his taste back. Otherwise, he's bound to buy another pair of $9 Bobos.
Maybe. What if I come back with like what if I'm like Advanced Plata and I'm a sommelier now? Like, Napa Valley, 1996, I believe. Yeah. What if it's like that movie where the kid breaks his arm and all of a sudden he can throw 100 miles an hour? What if my taste comes back, but I'm like,
can you smell or no?
No, I tried to smell I sprayed my fucking cologne this morning on me. Just, I'm not changing my rituals, If I spray my cologne, I'm like, I don't fucking smell it.
Can Spot really come out? I would love to see Spot spread his ass
I'm not going to smell.
Face to see if you could.
I would, if Spot stood right next to me and farted, I'd be okay with that. I'm not sticking my head by Spot's gross ass, but I would not smell anything. I promise you.
Spot, give him a COVID test, man. He's way too fucking chipper for my likings.
What do you want me to do? Fucking be depressed? I'm trying to bring it. Hot peppers taste like, honestly, I could be eating. Hot peppers taste like cucumbers. It's fucking bizarre. Bizarre.
But here's the question. But does your asshole feel it coming out?
Oh, you know what? Have I lost the sensation in my butthole?
That's what I want to know.
Whoa.
So, like, what if you're eating all this hot and spicy shit just because you think you can?
I clearly,
but your asshole gets all the damage later on.
I'm clearly trying to think of the positives that come out of this. And positive number one could be
none.
This might be the time when I cut back on my sugar intake because my coffee, I'm eating my coffee. Come on, let one loose. Right there. Let the caboose loose, Spot. I don't think I have anything. Nothing. I could feel the spiciness in the peppers. It's weird. There's some psychological experiments that have to be done when it comes to sense and smell and taste, Covino. There's got to be something mental. Like, if you
Rich,
look at
I
something,
just want you to know, I before I went to bed last night, which was the struggle in itself because I feel like I'm dying.
Yeah.
I said a little prayer so that you could taste your jalapenos again. Just want you to know.
All right, good. I hope so.
I threw that in there.
A lemon. Yeah.
I was like, thank you, God, for keeping us all safe and healthy, and thank you for helping me get through this, and
I mean, why would you not?
Why would you not? Family and our listeners, and please give Rich his opportunity to taste his jalapenos again.
Why would you not want me to taste my jalapenos again?
Thank you, Lord.
It's terrible.
Amen.
It's terrible. I was looking up ways to regenerate your sense of taste and stuff. And a lot of it has to do with you have to get extreme smelling things and almost over smell them. Does that make sense? Like, let me close the window. Hold on. You have to get extreme smelling things like essential oils and peanut butter, lemon, like the most extreme smelling things, and start over smelling them until eventually you start to stimulate your smells again, which is fucking wild. It's weird. Peppermints. But this might be when I cut the sugar out of my coffee, because if I'm drinking it now and I'm fine with it with no taste, maybe I'll never add sugar. Maybe I'll never add sugar again.
Yo, bro, if you have no taste now, how many Tiger shirts are you going to buy?
Oh, Sarah asked me the other day, she was folding laundry and she goes, you really do have a lot of Tiger shirts. I'm like, I have like 3. But yes, I guess 3 is a lot more than most people have.
I mean, I think you're bound to buy at least 3 more if this doesn't fix itself right away.
I'm gonna order some Tiger shirts today. Maybe that'll be my new gimmick. Talking about standing out. Let's see. Bleach. Do I smell bleach? No, they said the only thing that they worry about for people because there are people, Covino, that never get their smell back totally, and they worry about not smelling dangerous things like gas. But most people get their sense back within 3 weeks to 3 months, they said. Bleach. Let's see. Hey, Covino, did you say your boy lived in Italy? What if he realized you're from the wrong familia and you're supposed to be at war?
You're talking about my buddy Sergio who disappeared? Yeah, he was from Naples.
People are saying smelling salts? I don't know. All right, well, there's a couple other stories. Shiba Inu.
Braves win. Game 2 tonight.
Truthfully, what's your interest level? Like, my interest level is like, meh. Like, I'll if the game is close, I'll turn it on midway through. Like, I'm not watching from inning 1. Like, I'll be like, oh, what's the score? Because the games start early out here. It's like 5. So it's like, if it's like, ooh, close game, midway through, you might throw it on, or are you watching from inning 1?
I had it on from the get-go, and I was so into it, even though the Braves took an early lead, that I forgot Bachelor was on. Bachelorette. Jordan hit me up. She's like, are you watching Bachelorette? And I was like, oh, that's right. Totally forgot. So I watched straight through until 8:30 on the west side.
Would you say this is
And then I was going back and forth.
Would you say this is a Bachelorette worth watching, or is she boring?
I mean, Jordan loves her. Her name's Michelle. She's an ebony princess. She's super sweet, but I find her to be a snore fest. So,
yeah, not what we'd all want. Let's see, Michelle.
Jordan loves her.
She's beautiful. She's beautiful. Yeah, is she one of those women that women love? Like, yeah, all right.
Yeah. So no, I watched the game, but I'm excited. I mean, I have nothing else to look forward to. So yeah, I'm excited to watch Game 2 tonight, and hopefully, just for the fun of it, the Astros come out swinging, pun intended, and
Even it up.
They tie it up. Yeah.
Yeah, I think when your team's not in it, the most you could add, what everyone really wants is a close series. No one wants to watch a snoozer. By the way, your mom says Freddie Freeman is so cute.
Why is she objectifying him?
I agree with Andrew. World Series is background noise unless it's a close game. Then I'm zoned in. As a Dodgers fan, I have zero interest. I'm not watching, but go Braves. Yeah, that's the old question too. Do you root for the team that eliminated you, or do you root against the team that eliminated you out of like spite? Like, fuck them, they eliminated the Dodgers? Or do you say, well, if the Braves are the better team, then the team that beat my team, then they may as well be the best team?
Me personally, I have no rooting interest. I'm just looking for good games. That's all.
All right, what about this? I saw people speculating on social media. Is it eye-rolly or acceptable for people to dress up their pets for Halloween?
If you have kids, it's acceptable.
If you do not have kids, can you dress up your pet for Halloween?
Nah, you're fucking lame.
Unless it's an accessory, something you have.
You're lame.
But meaning, like, what if your pet is part of your costume, maybe?
Oh yeah, that's acceptable.
Yeah,
I could. Yeah, that's like the pet's a prop.
Yeah, but if you're just like, it's my fur baby, I dressed it up. Like, no can do.
It's fucking corny. I saw one of our buddies got married, and I'm not trying to dump on their wedding because it looked beautiful, but part of their theme was like their dog saying, mommy and daddy are getting married. Their dog had a stupid tux on. It's like, get out of here.
Get the fuck out of here. Mommy and daddy are getting married.
I had an aunt that used to tell me that her dog was my cousin. And I used to ask my parents, I'm like,
is that dog really my cousin?
Is he really my cousin? Why did she say that?
Same like
fuck out of here with that shit.
Same like your dad would say the kid they sponsored for 10 cents a day was your new sibling.
Yeah, my feelings stem back from that, to be honest. My dad would get so mad.
Yeah, your fucking cousin. Fuck out of here, stupid dog. Hey, oh.
I'd be like, yeah, it's my cousin, I think.
I love that dog. We're related. Yeah. A friend of mine called her dogs. Oh my God. Yeah, I don't know. Andrew saying a friend of his called her dog her newborn kid's sister. I don't know about that. I call the dog part of the family. I don't call the dog a sibling or a kid.
It is part of the family. There's no denying that. Like
when Emmy does her little, her little prayers, or she does her little who's in the family, like mommy, daddy, Ben, and Piper. Like that's the dog's part of the family.
Agreed.
I think you could dress up the dog. Like I agree. Clint Covino said, if you got kids, you could dress up the dog with the kids because it sort of all goes together because the kids are always with the dog. But
I definitely did it, and call me lame. It worked. I had a kid, made your kid happy. It's memorable. It makes it more fun. I think that changes the rule up a little bit. When you're treating your dog like the kid, then you're fucking lame.
Ooh, Bill Jackson and you already butt heads on things. He said his dogs are part of his wedding.
No, lame in my opinion. I'm allowed to have one.
True.
To be there, I can see people being really tight with their dog. Like, it's my best friend.
Yeah.
I want him there. All right, fine.
Yeah, if you got a dog that's like man's best friend, and the dog is trained. What if the dog is trained enough to like bring the ring down the aisle? Like, I don't have a problem with that. That's stupid.
Yeah. But, you know what? I don't take it back. It just depends how.
Go get a dog sitter.
Best men? Did they give you away? Like,
go get a dog sitter for the reception though. Spot, your brother's dog was at your wedding weekend, right? Yeah, I mean, but not at the wedding. People are close to their dogs, and a lot of times people are saying,
like, "Hey, you should love your dog." There's no question there, but treating it like a person is odd.
I thought of you, Covino, because you know how he said that. Your daughter sleeps with her dog, right? Emmy started doing this little thing where she's like, I want Piper to sleep on my bed. I'm like, is that the beginning? Is it one night where your kid's like, I want the dog to sleep with me, and all of a sudden that's the beginning and that's their best buddy?
Yo, by the way, I'm sorry. My mom burnt me on our social media. She said to Bill that she'd rather have a cat or a dog in the wedding than an Elvis impersonator.
Oh!
my mom burnt me and on my own show. So yeah, you know what? Touche. It's a good point, Bill. I really can't say
what
much
do you rather
after
have,
that.
an Elvis impersonator or a cat? Your mom said I'd rather have a cat.
You know, I can't really argue that. So I'm sorry. Back to Emmy and the doggy.
Yeah. Do you? Is that how it started for your daughter? Like one day the dog just sleeps with him, and then all of a sudden that's a daily routine where the dog sleeps with your kid, and then they're inseparable.
Yeah, Max the Chihuahua still sleeps with Melody till this day.
Till this day.
Let
me see if there's any other quick news alerts. We'll dip away and we'll call it a day a little early today.
No
dress up your pet. Oh, what did you think about Floyd Mayweather Jr., Covino? Not wanting to take a picture of the fan. Sean the lawyer hit me up with this. He goes, "Did you guys see this? I feel like you and Covino would probably have an opinion." Mayweather was taking pictures with a bunch of fans, but some like gothy looking dude with painted fingernails was like, "Could I get a picture?" And Floyd's like, "I don't take pictures with dudes with painted nails."
That's fucking funny, but fucked up. Floyd Mayweather also in the news for backing Kyrie Irving. You know, with the whole sentiment of if you don't stand for something, you fall for everything.
I can't believe.
And he's like sort of proud of him.
I can't believe that the amount of money Kyrie's losing per game. It's wild to me. I guess when you have that much money, it doesn't faze you as much. But what, every game Kyrie misses is close to $400,000?
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, Mayweather. Honestly, you know how Mayweather got a lot of criticism for not being able to read?
Yeah.
He actually reads this whole thing that he wrote to Kyrie Irving about how he feels about his decision. And he reads from it. And I'm like, yeah, he reads great. He did a great job. Because I honestly thought that he couldn't read all that well. But no, he reads just fine.
So Mayweather getting flack for that. People saying like, is he homophobic? Is he whatever? Like, I mean, he doesn't have to take a picture with anyone, but I think it's a bad look if he said, "I'm cool taking a picture with," if he said, "I'm not taking a picture with anybody," you got to respect that. It's Floyd Mayweather Jr. He doesn't want to be bothered. But if he said, "I'll take a picture with you, and you, but not you because you paint your fingernails and you're a dude," you knew he was going to get some clap.
I mean, maybe
back from
his
that.
thinking was that this picture would be used against him. You know, I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Like, you know your audience and you know the people that really want the picture and the people that are looking to bait you for some other reason.
Yeah, it's like when we had an interaction with Tim Tebow back in the day, and his people were like, "Yo, we don't need alcohol in his frame." Like anywhere he stood, they removed anything that could be photographed to make it look like Tim Tebow was partying. That's pretty wild when you think of that. Paul McCartney said, "No more autographs or selfies. He'd rather share a story and talk to a fan instead." Are you cool with that?
Peace and love.
You'd rather talk to the fan? I'm cool with that.
I think that's more valuable. Autographs?
Yeah.
So I saw that on social media the other day because it's cool when your kid gets an autograph at a baseball game. We all remember our first autograph at a card show or a game. But in 2021, I think a selfie or a conversation trumps an autograph, right? Do you really want an autograph as a little kid the way we may have wanted one?
No, I think they've lost their value.
The selfie has replaced. Like, imagine getting a selfie. If you're at a baseball game and you get down to the first row and you're like, Giancarlo, and Giancarlo Stanton comes up to you. Do you rather him sign a fucking piece of paper for you, or do you rather have your phone and be like, "Yo, me and Giancarlo"? Like, way cooler.
Selfie has replaced the autograph for sure.
What would be cooler? Steve Covino with a Don Mattingly autograph, or a picture of you in 1988 with Donnie Baseball? Clearly the
picture
first.
by far, yeah.
All right, well, with that said, enjoy the rest of your day. Game 2 tonight. Who's favored? Astros are favored. Pitching tonight is Max Fried for the Braves. And let's see. Urquidy? Is that how you say the guy's name on Houston?
I don't know. Hey, Spot, did you have another story you wanted to share before we go?
Did I?
I heard you say something.
No.
Okay. Well, feel better, bud.
I said no more. There's no more news. The news is over.
He's ready to bounce.
The news is done.
Right. Yeah. Well, thank you guys. Remember, the show continues. Feedback continues at Covino and Rich. Shop.covinoandrich.com. And we hope you have a great rest of the day. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. Covinoandrich.com. And remember to include us in your prayers. And let's all hope that Rich could taste his mustard
I
again.
hope so, man. That's
very soon.
I'm really
Very
concerned.
soon.
I love how you guys are downplaying that. Like that's like a long-term effect. So that could stink. That could be the worst.
I'm really concerned about
What would you
that.
rather be, sick for a couple days or not taste for months?
Yeah, I'm not worried about my lungs at all.
Not taste for months.
No, I'm not worried about the fact that I have no energy and that I have a fever. I'm not worried about that. Or that like I'm really congested and building up that. Not worried about it all.
Short.
But you can't taste jalapenos. It's really
long lasting or fast acting or long lasting?
Really concerning. Yeah, I'm not worried about like anything at all, other than your.
So remember, guys.
Jalapenos, guys.
Well, thank you for hanging out. We appreciate it. And again, feedback continues at Covino and Rich.
We'll see you guys tomorrow. Arrivederci, baby.
See you in the promised land.
Goodbye.
Bye, guys.